Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. You might notice that I'm in a different location today. I have moved yet again, my wife and I. Hopefully we're now in a place where we're going to be at least for the next year. So we've got an apartment and yeah, hopefully this works. So I have not yet unpacked. My camera is balanced on the top of a cabinet and a couple books, and my laptop is on what else but my unpacked suitcase. So let's talk about Deuteronomy chapter 29 in 5 minutes, and as always, the studies are available for free on our website, and you can download the PDF there. This first page is going to look pretty familiar if you've been studying along with us. These events happened in approximately 1450 BC, right before the Israelites entered the promised land, or the land of Canaan. As far as our main characters, we've got those Israelites. They're also known as the Hebrews. They've been traveling from Egypt to the land of Canaan, which we call the promised land, and they're going to make that their home eventually, but they're not quite there yet. Deuteronomy chapter 1 verse 5 tells us that these events took place in Moab, probably near Mount Pisgah, which will become really important towards the end of Deuteronomy, and we're almost there. Chapter 29 is a bit of a shorter chapter, and I've got it broken down into a couple of sections. I'm just going to have to pick up my computer and look at it because I'm so tired that I can't remember what's on my notes, so I'm sorry. Okay, I can't have it down here on my suitcase. Section number 1. I've got only one section in this chapter. It's the first 29 verses. God renews his covenant with the Israelites. With the Israel, I wrote in my notes. Good job. Okay, I'll edit that out by the time you see it. God commanded Moses to speak to the people of Israel about his covenant that he was going to renew with them while they were in Moab. So Moses summoned all of the people to himself, and he reminded them about all of God's mighty works. He prompted them to recall God's power that had freed them from Egypt, how God's guidance had brought them through the wilderness in their 40 years in the wilderness, and God giving them victory over specifically King Sihon and King Og. Moses told the people that he had gathered them so that they could enter into a, quote, sworn covenant with the Lord. And in doing so, God would make them his special people. So you remember, he already kind of did this with the Israelites at Mount Sinai, but now this new generation has come up after the wandering in the wilderness. God is renewing this covenant with them. So Moses sternly warned the Israelites, well, any Israelite who harbored evil in their hearts, thinking that God would make this covenant with them and then they could just go on continuing to do their evil and they would just kind of get away with it, right? So Moses warned people like that God would discover the corruption in their hearts and their evil intentions, and he would curse them with the curses that we've already talked about in Deuteronomy chapter 27 and 28. If the entire Israelite nation broke their covenant with God, God told them that he would bring sickness on the land and make it desolate like Sodom and Gomorrah. Sodom and Gomorrah, if you don't remember, were two evil cities that God destroyed back in Genesis chapter 19. Foreigners in future generations would know that the Israelites' fate and their desolate land had come about because the Israelites had disobeyed God, right? So God would do all of these things if Israel broke covenant with him. And a covenant is basically like a solemn agreement, kind of like a promise, a commitment between two parties. So as we think about that, the last part of this chapter is about the legacy that Israel was going to leave and what the other nations would think about them in the future. Think about this question and application for yourself. What kind of a legacy are you leaving? When the future generations look back at your life and your relationship with God, what will they have to say? What will they remember? Did you honor God and elevate him in your life? Was your relationship with God significant enough even to be remembered or to be a marking characteristic of your time on earth? Did you openly dishonor God and contribute to the corruption of the culture that you were in? What kind of a legacy are you leaving? Ask yourself that question today. And if it's not the God-honoring legacy that Moses was pleading with the people to leave here, that's whose side you need to be on. And we need to be making adjustments in our lives so that that can be the way that we are remembered.